So fighting game difficulty is kind of like been all the rage since 2XKO's Alpha Labs dropped. A lot of people have been saying a lot of crazy things, and you know, but good old SpeedKicks here, one of the Tekken greats, has words about fighting game difficulty and this little conversation that's been happening lately on social media, specifically Twitter. But we're gonna take a look at this and see what SpeedKicks has to say, and I'll try to chime in and say my little spiel on this, and yeah, so let's just get to it.
When people are getting shit on in fighting games, they come up with all these other things, like, okay, fuck, this game's too hard, shit, this game didn't teach me whatever, oh, this game's tutorial is ass. The other games don't have those things either. What the game is actually missing is fun. You're not having fun while you're losing. It's not fun to be a noob in a fighting game. It's not that the game's too hard. It's not that the game shouldn't allow you to be noobs. You would not be bitching about how hard the game is if you were having fun sucking at the game. Not having another person there, not having like you can't queue up with your friend, like, you know, in League you can suck at the game. The game also doesn't have a tutorial. The game also has too much information that you don't know. It has all of that shit, but what it doesn't have is the ability to queue up with your homies. It's like watching those TikTok vids of CS surfing, a random ass game to keep you engaged with the audio. Look, it's fire, bro. We got the fucking Project L music in the background. I'm watching this. You see, bro, look at this kid. This is warm-ups, by the way. Look at that. You see that? Hey man, I'm enjoying 2XKO quite a bit, bro. Yeah, it's a great game. It's only an alpha. Look at this. You guys know what happened here? You guys understand what just happened here? Hold up. Let's put this shit. Let's put this shit at low speed. Because people want to tell me fighting games are too hard. People want to tell me fighting games are too hard. All right, let's go back. All right, so sees bro here, takes a shot, hits some 72, right? You have 200 health in this game. Puts up a wall because after you shoot, there's like a cooldown, right, on your shotgun. So people, they shoot and then they block, right? With the wall, you shoot, block with the wall. All right, so you can't get shot back, basically, right? Now, he shot this dude, and this guy's gonna run. The reason this guy's gonna run is because this guy can't block the shot himself, because our guy took the wall there. He now has the right to edit the wall open, which means this guy has to get out of there, or the wall's gonna get edited open, and he's gonna die, right? So what he has to do in this moment is predict where the guy's going to go and get the angle. So he sees which side of like the grid he's hugging, and what he does immediately is he turns to his side, opens this wall up so he can get a shot, right? Now he places a cone there so the other guy can't block using a ramp. And then he places a wall here so the guy can't block using the wall. And then he edits the wall open so as the guy moves that way, and he gets shot his gun out. So as the guy moves this way, he has a right hand peek and he kills him, right? All of that happens in this game. They're trying to do this shit the whole time they're playing each other, right? So the whole time you see these guys like running around building and shit, they're like not only moving at the fucking speed of light, they're thinking about the angles and predicting the movement of what the other guy's gonna do and trying to get a line of sight on them. Okay, you're telling me kids can do all of that, and this game is the most popular game in history, and fighting games need to be easy?
Yeah,
that's what you're telling me. That's what we're saying.
I agree.
Nah, fighting games don't need to be easy.
I agree. You do have a lot of things happening all at once. So let's unpack this. In watching this clip, I saw so much happening so quickly. It's like so much had happened in such like a blink of an eye. So much information gathering, so much of things you should be doing, so much of things you should be paying attention to in one fell swoop. And people will legit look at someone like me in the face and tell me, yo, fighting games are really hard, but then do all this Fortnite stuff and do all this crazy stuff, you know, wall bounces and stuff like that in Apex, wall bounces, 360 no scopes, and also the crazy stuff. And they'll sit here and tell you with a straight face that fighting games are difficult. You just sat here and built the Mona Lisa and like just clapped this dude in like 2 shots. Like, come on now. You're controlling your mouse and your keyboard to move around and see things. The game is everything's in front of you in a fighting game. There's no, oh, I gotta rotate my camera. What the dude's doing is right in front of you, right? There's no masking it unless there's like an assist fighter. Now, obviously, this kind of stems from 2XKO, right? So it's like, come on, like, I just don't like it. I don't like that notion. And yeah, these are kids. You know, I just don't like this notion of like, oh, you know, like, nah. I'm not buying it. I've been saying this for a long time, that a lot of people who, you know, complain about fighting games and say fighting games are hard will do this stuff, and it's like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. I don't agree with it. I think people can learn it, but it's their innate ability to want to do it. There's just a lack of desire. Like, people just have a lack of desire for the genre and wanting to learn how to play the genre correctly. Like, there's execution behind everything my dude just did, and people are doing stuff in fighting games at higher ages. You know, Street Fighter's filled with a lot of 30-year-olds, etc., for example. You know, so it's like these kids are probably like 17, 18, and they're just click-clacking away. So it's like, that's where I don't fathom like this portion of like, you can't do something. I think it's just a lack of desire. Like, I also agree with SpeedKicks in the sense that like, it's not fun to lose, but 2XKO allows you the ability to queue up with your friends to go learn how to play. And I think this is the part where I say fighting games don't need to be, I won't say don't need to be difficult or any, or fighting game difficulty needs to be any lower or higher in particular, but it's more like, I don't think we need to conform the fighting games any further than what we've already done. Like, we keep trying to make it new player friendly, and like, we've done so much to make it new player friendly, and it's like, what more do we need to do now? Does it need to be an auto battler? Do we need to do it like you just press auto battle and your character fights for you at this point? Like, we're not doing auto battlers for shooting games. Sure, there's aimbots and stuff like that, but like, come on, like, come on. Like, we don't have to go that far, you know? People will sit here and beat Dark Souls. They'll find ways to beat the crap out of a Dark Souls game. There's all these speedrunners that find all these crazy glitches and stuff like that. So it's like, how is it that we have, you know, fighting games and just, it's the one genre that's like probably some of the most fun in terms of competitive play. It's just, it's a you thing, that's all. Like, I think it just feels bad to lose by yourself. People want a reason to blame like their teammates, but you can't do that in a fighting game. You have to blame yourself. Like, there's disciplines needed to be played within a fighting game. It's just befuddling. Even from things that I've seen recently, like people talking about like, oh, you know, fighting game notation is really difficult. You're saying this is a beginner's guide, you know, da 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 da. And it's like, well, it is a beginner's guide, right? Oh, well, I can't read the notation. Learn how to read the notation. Stop making excuses. Like, I think it's just, I'm just gonna be honest, I think it's pretty unbecoming to ask people within the FGC to be more accommodating for people who don't get it when there are already been systems in place for us to learn the games when we talk about them. We don't need to constantly say quarter circle forward or whatever. If it makes it easier, sure, in some regards, but we've already had the rigmarole of quarter circle forward versus numpad notation. We don't need to go any further and try to create a whole new dialect. Like I said this earlier, right? Like Japanese is Japanese. The Japanese language isn't going to change because I can't read it or understand it. No, learn how to read and understand Japanese. Mandarin isn't going to change. Spanish isn't going to change. French isn't going to change. Learn to read and write the language. We don't need, just because it's a video game, we've already done this for so long. We don't need to change this so that it's more accommodating. The games themselves are accommodating. The community is already accommodating as it is for what it's worth, right? But when it comes to notation and understanding how to play, we don't need to make our guides that much more, I don't know what the word for it is, but like we don't need to coddle that much further. We've coddled as much as we could in the FGC, if you want my honest opinion. I feel like we've done so much in the regard to, you know, I feel like we've done a lot in regards to helping new players out from the content standpoint, a lot of the in-game tutorials, and like what was said here, a lot of like this build stuff that they showed here in Fortnite, people figured out how to do that on their own. There was no like, sure there were tutorials after the fact when people figured out how to do it and do it efficiently. And same with tech, and same with tutorials in that regard. Like you want to build this and then build that and then build this and then look down, look here, and look, there's a lot of different elements, you know? Yeah, there's no official tutorial on Fortnite on how to build. You just kind of just do it, you know? And I think that's what gets me. That's a community-based thing. People in the community figure out how to do it, which was like, what was it? What was his name again? Ninja and like, what's his name again? I forgot the other guy's name, but the two dudes at the time, they were like the top two. I know it was Ninja and the other guy. I can't forget. I am forgetting his name so hard right now. But bottom line is, them two were on the top, and they had some of the best building abilities on top of being good, you know, first-person shooter players. You know, they had good aim, etc., etc. So it's like, come on. Myth. There it was. Ninja and Myth. I didn't think of his name. It's finally hitting me. I was like, no, it's one of those guys. But yeah, it was Ninja and Myth, and they had good building abilities. You know? So there was no tutorial. It wasn't in the game. You had to figure it out. You know? Playing on the BRs with teams, you can't fault yourself for losing all the time. The amount of complaining I hear about losing in league is about how they're bot or top or mid, not doing anything. Fighting against you losing, it's on you. Fighting against you that you lost. Yeah, of course. Fighting games are personal. Like, you lost. It wasn't your teammate. Now, in 2x scale, it introduces a teammate, right? But you can pick up the slack where your teammate isn't because it's, again, in front of you. So, again, I just don't believe we're in a timeline where we need to make fighting games any easier. I feel like we've done everything we could. There are probably some other areas we could probably make more accommodating. Like, I think more accessibility options, right? Like, Street Fighter is really good at that. I think 2XKO has some issues with that, and I've seen some people who are blind or have accessibility issues, if you will, where they were, you know, having concerns about like not having any sound cues or having things not as pronounced, which is very awkward, knowing that Riot is really good at sound design. Look at Valorant in particular, where sound is very important. I think 2XKO is along in the same vein. I think games like Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat have done a really good job of making sure accessibility through sounds and things of that nature. You know, I think there are other things with people who are colorblind where they've kind of made things easier for them within the accessibility options within the game. So I feel like that's another thing that needs to be addressed, but that's another topic in itself. But the point of the matter is like, you know, how much more do we need to go? You know, how much more do we need to go in terms of accessibility? How much easier does a fighting game need to be before it's actually fun for you to play? Is it you just want to like press buttons and win? Because, you know, I think I said it already, but I just want to make sure I drive this point home. It doesn't matter if you know how to play League of Legends or you know how to play Fortnite. A fighting game is not those games. You can have experience in video games, but there's genres. Don't forget that there's genres, and you need to be able to play the genre to be able to be, you know, successful. If you can't play the genre, if you've never played a game within the genre, you're already at a disadvantage. If you've never played the other different types of games in the genre, be it a one-on-one fighter, an assist fighter, a tag fighter, you know, a platform fighter, an arena fighter, we have different you know, types of games within the genre. You know, it's like you have your first-person shooters, right? But people don't equate first-person shooters as just one thing, right? It'll be like first-person shooters, then there's MOBAs, then there's arcade, not MOBAs, excuse me. Why do I want to say MOBAs? From first-person shooters, you have battle royales, excuse me, that's what I wanted to say, battle royales, BRs. You have battle royales, you have tactical shooters, you have arcade shooters, you have things like Quake. It's like, acknowledge that we have those over here too. I think what's happening nowadays is there's just a lack of respect for the genre as a whole. They want the easiest path to winning. And the truth of the matter is there is no easy path for no genre. Like I said before, we have a language when we go into first-person shooters. When you say things like hold an angle, you know, grab an angle, grab, you know, game sense. Game sense would be the equivalent to saying, you know, situational awareness on our side. It's like, yeah, man, game sense, you lack game sense. And it's like, why can't you just say situational awareness? Nah, man, what we say is game sense. Don't come over to fighting games and tell us situational awareness should be game sense. We know it's one and the same, but this is what we call it. You know, it's the same with, like, you know, why do you guys call a dragon punch a DP? Because DP is for short. Why don't you just call it dragon punch? DP is shorter. It's easier to understand. We understand when you say that you don't have a DP, it means you don't have a reversal. You know, these are things that are just like, they're implied. So it's just weird to see that these people or these players come from other games and they want to play fighting games, and we encourage them, but they get frustrated that, like, they're not winning outright. Things don't make sense. Why can this guy throw me all day? Well, you can throw tech. How do you do that? You do it this way. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to aim in Apex? Why do I have to throw a grenade? Why can't I just press grenade and you just die? And then they'll sit there and tell you, well, that's stupid. It's the same thing on the other end. It's stupid. We're telling you that there are answers, just like you're telling us there are answers. You know, oh man, like, you know, again, Overwatch. Mercy is not the greatest character at high level play, but you're getting scrubbed out by Mercy. You're like, man, Mercy's so broke. Oh, she's so broke. And then the dude playing with you is super high level. Like, man, Mercy's whatever, dude. No one cares about no damn Mercy. So, like, if we have to have an open mind for your games, keep an open mind for our games. It's not that we don't want you to play them. We do want you to play them. It's just, don't come in trying to change everything. Don't kick the door down and be like, y'all, all right, y'all need to do this, y'all need to do that. Change this up, change that up. No, we don't come into your games and tell you, all right, man, these shooting games, all right, we need some Hadoukens, yo, we need some motion inputs. In fact, we need some easy mode inputs. You know what I'm saying? Even easier than this. I want when I click, my cursor just snaps and it's a straight headshot. Like, they're gonna look at us and laugh because they know that's not how it works over there. It doesn't work like that. So I just feel like it'll be great if people on the side of, you know, the other games, be it MOBAs, first-person shooters, tactical shooters, whatever, I don't care, League of Legends, whatever, just respect our genre. That's it. Respect our genre. Respect that there's etiquette, as we have to respect yours. You know, there are elements of fighting games that are featured in the games that you play. Fighting games are very relatable to literally every single genre of games, especially if you want to go competitive. They're somewhat similar to shooters. They're somewhat similar to MOBAs. And the biggest thing that can be said about that has the similarity is footsies. I can poke you from afar with this gun because it doesn't have, you know, hella drop off. I can poke you this far at this range because guess what? My buttons hit from this range. Shooters, you can't block, but you can use cover as a means of blocking. Hey, right here, I can take cover and take refuge and not take damage. Hey, I can block right here in this situation and also not take damage. Okay, I decided to take a risk and move that way. I got hit, but I didn't die, but I made it to this other point of the screen. Hey, I took a hit, I tanked and recovered and made a favorable position for myself. So I tanked some HP to put myself in a better situation. Now I can return the tide. I'm in. It's a tech button situation, whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of similarities to fighting games and all these shooters. It's just people don't want to acknowledge them. They just think it's, and I've seen other things, like one of my favorite Apex, you know, content creators was Noko. Noko was in, I think, the Annihilator Cup for Street Fighter V, and was complaining like, man, how do fighting games work? Why is it so hard? I don't understand. Blase, blase, whoop-de-woo. I don't understand how you guys memorize all this stuff. And it's like, it's the same for us. How do you memorize wall bounce freaking grappling hook with freaking Pathfinder? How do you multi-wall bounce so much? How are you mantle jumping so much? You know what I mean? Mind you, I played a lot of Apex. You guys know that. For those that don't know, I played Apex a ton. I have well over like, what, 1,500 hours in that game before I got back on my fighting game kick. It's like, dude. And I studied so much. Bag management, resource management, the equivalent to meter management, life management. You know what I'm saying? Playing within deficits. It's all the same. There's so many things that are relative. It's just, they put up this wall and act like we don't share similarities, and that's not the truth. We do. They're just different kinds of games, and which again, it'd be, well, duh, dude, they're different kinds of games. Yeah, but it's the fundamental portions of a video game. Poking, footsies, spacing. Hey man, if you space this incorrectly, there's drop off, there's bullet drop on that gun. Okay, I need to move up and create the proper distance to be able to land my hits and not have a bullet drop off. It's footsies. It's all relative. It's neutral. Neutral game is a part of all video games. Neutral game is a part of all video. You can't avoid neutral. It is in everything. Beat 'em ups, Soulsborns, action games, RPGs. There is a form of neutral to be played in all these games, and they're all relative. They're not that far off from each other. They just exist in a different style of video game. So yeah, man, that's just how I feel. And it's like, just, you know, again, respectfully, if you're watching this and you normally play shooters and you just saw this one, was like, yeah, 2XKO, this, that, the other, blah, 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 woo, this conversation, like, please understand, again, man, we don't, in fighting games, go over to your games and say, y'all need to change it up. We respect and acknowledge that, like, Fortnite is goated, Apex is goated, Valorant is goated. You know, we accept that these are the games and this is how they work, and we have to play within those means. We're not out here complaining as fighting game players, oh, Valorant doesn't play like Counter-Strike, or why is Valorant so hard, or why is League so hard. We just accept it. We play these games with our friends. Yeah, we may complain, but we're not looking at it from the standpoint of, you need to change it. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're not asking you guys to change it. We're not looking for a change. So that's, you know, that's my spiel, and that's just how I feel about it. With that, as I always say, with that being said, you know, talk to me in the comments below how y'all feeling about this topic. You know, are fighting games too hard, or, you know, what have you? Is fighting game difficulty too much now? Is it too easy? Talk to me. Let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.